Welcome everyone. Bonjour à tous. Labas rytas visiems. Thank you all for finding the time and visiting today this webinar organized by Versli Lietuva, or Enterprise Lithuania in English. My name is Rasa Uždavinytė and I'm the Director of Export Department at Enterprise Lithuania. Our topic today is to talk about the opportunities for Lithuanian companies in European retail chains. It is especially important today when many companies need to look for new market opportunities at the times of coronavirus pandemic. But even though we are talking today about the European retail chains, I still want to give some credit to France because we will be having French experts on board. Why France is important for Lithuania. So France is the target export market, and it's the 12th largest export market for Lithuanian producers. In 2019, total exports of domestically produced goods to France amounted to 568 million euros. The largest categories we export are fertilizers, furniture, plastics, wood. So therefore, we can see that there is much room for food and beverage industry. And I would like to add that in the export of services, France takes the third place on the Lithuanian export map, with transport services being the top category, which is also a good ground for delivery of goods. And today we will discuss these following topics. First, we will talk about the impact of coronavirus pandemic on French economy and French government's plan on gradually easing the lockdown measures will be presented. Then we will move to European retail chains, the key players and their needs presentation. And finally, we will have the taste distribution competition. So I would like to shortly present our experts. Daiva Chetcuti. She's the commercial attaché of the Republic of Lithuania in France. Then we have Aurelien Van Berten, who is the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of WABEL company. And finally, we have Harnois, who is the Sales Director, Supplier Relations and Sourcing Manager at Taste Distribution. So before we move to the presentations, I would like to also invite all the viewers. Please, if you have any questions, write them down in the comment section next to the webinar screen. After the presentations, we will have the questions and answer session, and we will answer these questions. And also, I would like you to pay attention. There will be a registration link in the comment section. So this is an opportunity for the Lithuanian companies to register for the B2B meetings with WABEL and Taste Distribution Company. These meetings will be organized in 1 or 2 weeks' time. So please find the registration and register if you are interested. And now I move to the speakers. I want to shortly present our first speaker today, Daiva Chetcuti. She is a commercial attaché at the Lithuanian Embassy in France, reporting to the ambassador and to the Ministry of Economy and Innovations. Daiva has over 15 years of international experience. Her main objectives are to help Lithuanian companies to export their products and services to France, to attract foreign business, investments, technology, and tourists to Lithuania. Daiva is building bridges between businesses, investors, business associations, and government agencies that are involved in international economic mandates. Today, she will talk about the impact of coronavirus pandemic on French economy and will present short French government's plan to gradually ease the lockdown. So please, Daiva, I give the floor to you.
Good morning, everyone. Labas rytas visiems. Thank you, Rasa, for introducing me. Thank you, Enterprise Lithuania, for organizing this bridge between Vilnius and Paris. Initially, we wanted to have this meeting in Vilnius, but the circumstances don't allow us to do this, so we're going to do this online. And this is probably a new way to work today in the future. So my presentation, today's presentation will be linked, of course, to coronavirus pandemic and its impact on French economy. I'm going to talk about 30 minutes, 4 major parts of my presentation: coronavirus status in France, the confinement impact on French economy, the French government's measures to get the economy back up and running, and the government's plan to ease coronavirus lockdown measures. So just to understand the coronavirus gravity in France, I have decided to show you a few slides how it looks in numbers in a European context. Since January 24 this year up to yesterday, cases of COVID-19 in France. There have been also 25,201 confirmed deaths in hospitals and nursing homes. As you see, the numbers are pretty high in France. The mortality rate is 70% if we compare to the Europe. So financial support has been provided to health system. 260 million euros for hospitals have been allocated out of unspent reserves in the 2019 budget. Payments of 3.5 billion that comprise 0.14% of GDP from 2020 allocations have been brought forward as well. 4.5 billion of additional funds have been released for the purchase of equipment, health expenses, and additional emergency fund of 50 million euros for research on COVID-19 was created. Sorry, I just tried to move to another slide. It does. Occurred in the middle of April. The increasing spread of coronavirus across countries has prompted many governments to introduce unprecedented measures to contain the epidemic. And these are priority measures that are imposed by sanitary situation, which leave little room for other options, as health should remain the primary concern for all of us. These measures have led to many businesses being shut down temporarily, widespread restrictions on travel, mobility, financial market turmoil, and erosion on confidence and heightened uncertainty. With no exceptions, on March 16, 2020, the government of France announced measures to minimize contact and travel. And confinement order put into effect throughout France in March 17 has been extended to May 11. All non-essential public services in France remain closed, including open-air markets. And recently, government of France announced a progressive services after May 11. So if we move to the next slide, we see the heavy impact of these measures on economies. And I have chosen the OECD chart where they show Italy and France. And if you see, after Italy and France introduced these measures, construction, retail sales, trade, they dropped drastically. Let's look now at the impact of containment measures had on France's economy. In France, GDP fell by 5.8% during the first quarter of 2020, which included the first 15 days of coronavirus lockdown. The French National Statistic Agency confirmed that this was the biggest drop in the history for quarterly GDP estimates, which began in 1949. The decline unseated the previous record of a 5.3 decrease from second quarter in 1960, and the major strikes had brought the country to a standstill. France is facing its worst recession since 1945, with 30 to 40% of business closed due to the coronavirus pandemic, with the GDP expected to drop 8% in 2020. I repeat myself, the French government predicts that the country's GDP will fall, but in time, its public deficit will skyrocket to 9% of GDP this year. Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire told in a hearing at the Economic Affairs Committee of that the country is likely to experience its worst year of economic recession since the end of the World War II. So as you see in the figure, the potential initial impact on economy activities in G7 countries, and the trend is pretty similar in the sectors. And the major decline in activities are facing the professional and real estate service providers and businesses in retail and wholesale trading. Other personal services, construction, transport manufacturers, hotels, restaurants are and will be faced. So no secret, the head of France Employers Union, Rudy Bézieux, suggested that the people will need to work harder to get the economy back up running, implying that rethink would be necessary in terms of working hours and paid holidays. In France, with 35 hours per week. The initial direct impact of the shutdowns could be a decline in the level of output in between 1/5 or 1/4 in many economies, with consumers' expenditure potentially dropping around 1/3. Changes of this magnitude would far overweight anything global financial crisis 2000. I've shown the chart to show also how does it look, the situation and forecast in selected advanced and also emerging economies. So here in red you see France, in Lithuania. So depending on country and depending on the measures and situation, you see there is a bit of difference. So shop closure and travel restriction are likely to result in some categories of spending being cut back completely, such as spending on clothing, footwear, household, package holidays. Spending involving direct contact between consumers and businesses, such as car purchase and hairdressing, is also likely to be postponed completely. Sharp decline likely in spending on local travel, restaurants, hotels, and recreational services also. These still continue to some extent in number of countries. But containing the epidemic and limiting its severity is the priority to help the healthcare sector, affected industry and workers. But governments must also support vulnerable, the shock through tax incentives and employment and social measures. The scale of the estimated decline in the level of output is such as that is equivalent to a decline in annual GDP growth up to 2% for each month that measures continue. If the shutdown continues for 3 months, no offsetting factors, annual GDP growth could be between 4-6% points lower than otherwise might have been. As of April 23rd, 2020, based on the information available, French economic activity would decrease by 35%. In agricultural industries, the loss declined by 13%. On the other hand, in the industry and construction sectors, would be up to 43% in the industry and 79% in construction. In commercial services, the loss of businesses could go up to 38%. The estimated loss of economic activities is consistent with the distribution of employers according to their term of employment. As you see from this figure, the most resilient businesses are financial and ICT services, with majority of employees working online. Also agriculture and food industries with employers basically on the field. This is normal for this type of business. Energy, water and recycling, half of employees working on the activities. To the confinement measures would be accommodation and restaurant services with activity close to zero, and most employees being on the partial unemployment schemes. As you see, impact on economy linked to consumption decline, we see from the figure that after this these containment measures were implemented, in many countries consumption dropped drastically. But if we see less it occurred in OECD countries than non-OECD countries. So basically Lithuania and France, we are lucky to be in this part in the chart. So all expenditures, if we now go on the potential impact of partial and complete shutdowns on private consumption, in the G47, we see that all expenditures on clothing and footwear, furnishing, household equipments, vehicle purchase, package holidays, and personal care services is assumed to stop completely. So this prognosis is based on these assumptions. Spending on recreation and culture and hotels and restaurants is assumed to decline by 3/4, and spending on transport services and the operation of private vehicles to decline by 1/2. Consumer spending has fallen by 6.1% since the start of quarantine in France. Industrial consumption fell by almost 18% and food by 7.8%. On the other hand, the French result of closed trade. With the health crisis, household confidence in the economic situation fell sharply. Its biggest drop since survey was created in 1972 at 995 points, and it's now below its long-term average that it was 100. How the French government is responding to the crisis. I will start with the fiscal measures. The joint action are being taken between national or regional authorities to manage the crisis as part of the new Economic Council, État Région. Okay, sorry. To start commenting from the beginning, or? Okay, it was the connection problem. Thank you. So I will start with the French government's response to the pandemic crisis. And I will give you fiscal measures at the beginning of the role that the French government introduced immediately when the confinement started. So these joint actions are being taken between national and regional authorities to manage this crisis as part of a new Economic Council, État Région. So it includes to set up regional task forces together with the development banks to accelerate the support measures for business enterprises. The cost of fiscal package for household and firms, as well as healthcare sector, are estimated at around 16.5 billion euros. The main fiscal costs are the short-time work schemes, 8.5 billions, and felt measures for the self-employers and smallest firms. The postponement of social and fiscal deadlines and the early reimbursement of tax credits with a reach of 48.5 billion. Implementation of an exceptional state guarantee mechanism for new liquidity loans granted by credit institutions between 16 March at the end of this year to companies registered in France within the limit of billion euros. Specific guarantees for export insurance and credit insurance could also reach 12 billion. Tax exemption for bonuses is in essential sectors. The bonuses can reach 1,000 euro to 2,000 euro in case of firm level agreement. So if we look to the fiscal measures that people specific that the French government introduced, so that would be increased sick leave reimbursement for affected workers, as well as those facing school closure, relaxation of the conditions for the firms to grant an exceptional purchasing power bonus, extension of social rights, so minimum welfare benefits, benefits for disabled people, extension of, as I mentioned already, Solidarity Fund will support income for the self-employed and entrepreneurs. Postponement of part of employment insurance reform and additional transfer to the poorest households. Now we move to the fiscal measures that the company specific, and the main measures would be postponing the payment of social security contributions and taxes, and on case-by-case basis granting these exemptions, early repayment of corporate tax claims refundable in 2020, and accelerating processing of VAT credit claims, cancellation of late fees for state and local authorities procurement contracts, the government has allowed companies to declare the epidemic as a cause of force majeure. It prevents them fulfilling their public procurement contracts. A removing of the ceiling of advance paid by the state on public contracts, implementation of a 4 billion fund to support the cash flow for startups, setting up a solidarity loss of turnover over 1 year, up to 1,500 for very small, under 1 million in annual taxable profits under 60,000 euros. For the self-employed, micro-entrepreneurs and liberal professions suffering a very sharp drop in turnover, for example, loss of 70% of turnover over 1 year in or subject to administrative closure. Additionally, flat rate aid of 2,000 for businesses with at least one employee threatened with the bankruptcy. Also created by the state and region, the Solidarity Fund is now enrolled with 7 billion euros, of which 500 million euros are provided by the regions. Since 1st of April, Solidarity Fund has enabled to grant more than 1 billion euros in aid to nearly 800,000 beneficiaries in the form of tax-free aid of up to 1,500 euros. So the Solidarity Fund is intended for the most affected very small companies to obtain additional assistance of a minimum amount of 2,000 euros, which can be up to 5,000 euros. State guarantees treasury loans up to 25% of annual turnover or 2 years of payroll for newly created or innovative companies. No repayment will be required in the first year. The company may choose to amortize the loan over a minimum period of 5 years. So we continue with the last measures. So temporary increase in state ownership of some firms facing exceptional difficulties, scheme enabling the state to guarantee 300 billion to 90% of amount of the loan on the size of the company. This measure most likely will be proposed for Air France and Renault. Activation of public reinsurance on outstanding credit insurance up to 10 billion, which will help companies to keep the credit insurance cover they need in order to maintain their activity. Setting up reinsurance for short-term export credits, the CAP France Export public reinsurance scheme launched in October 2018 will be extended to support French exporters. The cap on outstanding amounts reinsured by the state has been doubled to 5 billion euros, and eligibility has been extended to more destination countries. For very small enterprises and small and medium enterprises, water, gas, electricity bills and rents will be postponed for the time of the crisis. Encouraging conflict mediation with free, fast and reactive mediation services by a mediator. Creation of crisis unit for intercompany credit. Mobilize credit mediation to support SMEs thanks to a public scheme to help any company that is experiencing difficulties with one or more financial institutions. So as are really helping French businesses, and this is good news also for us because we want the French companies to be healthy, to get back on business, and it's very important for us that the potential partners are doing well. Maintain these partnerships. So I would like also to give few words about the market support, market and actual France, Europe's most protective system on the employment front. This is how the French government defines its massively deployed employment scheme since the beginning of the containment. The Minister of Labor, Muriel Pénicaud, announced that 10.2 million French people benefit from this tool to prevent redundancies, which has been requested by 821,000 companies. To put it in another way, this means that the state now pays the payroll of more than 1 of 2 employers in the private sector. Approximately 2.7 million French are additionally attached to the social protection scheme from the 1st vulnerability, will then be supported by partial unemployment and will benefit therefore compensation up to 84% of their net salary and even 100% if they have minimum salary. Concerning the sector of activity, once again, there is no surprise. Partial employment is mainly requested by establishments in the trade and automobile repairs, 23%. Specialized service activities, scientific and technical, almost 14%. Construction as well, almost 14%. And compensation and food and accommodation and food services, 13.5%. For the latter sector, 9 out of 10 employees are partially unemployed. And in construction, 93% of employees, or more than 1.2 million people, are paid by the Ministry of Labor. We all understand that the longer the crisis lasts, the harder the cessation and the more difficult the tomorrows will be. While fully respecting health conditions with compromise, we have to work professionally. The principle of French government, of the labor minister, of the prime minister, that we need to start opening economies. And Prime Minister Edouard Philippe told the National Assembly on 28th of April that France will slowly start softening lockdown rules 11. The plan will try to strike the difficult balance between maintaining protective measures and reviving the economy. The French government's plan to coronavirus lockdown measures relies on strategy, testing and isolating patients to ensure the second wave of contamination is kept under control. Primary and nursery schools will start to gradually 11th of May. Later colleges and high schools will open their doors in June. Gatherings up to 10 people will be allowed and public transportation will reopen. Among the main relaxation measures, the Prime Minister said travel certificates will no longer be needed after 11th of May, meaning people will be allowed to travel with the 100 kilometers radius of their home without having to get a permit. Non-essential shops that had been closed by the authorities during containment phase will be able to reopen their doors to the public, subject to compliance with the health regulations. But bars and restaurants will not be reopened to the public for the time being. However, measures will only be eased in territories with low exposure to the pandemic, while stricter rules can be maintained in exposed ones. Was largely approved by the National Assembly by 368 votes to 100, with 103 abstentions. And tomorrow, the President Macron will announce the last details to the containment plan, and we are very looking forward to his speech. And we know we all know that the exit will be progressive. So thank you very much for attention. I will wait for your questions.
Thank you very much, Daiva. I would like to apologize the viewers for a little bit interrupted sound, but this is due to the internet connection, which is busy globally in the morning line. So sorry about that, but our record of this webinar will be available later on, so you can all find it and view it again. My questions to you, Daiva, would be, you mentioned the progressive exit from the confinement measures for business in France. What does it mean? Could be the concrete steps after the 11th of May?
Sorry, just one. Yes, the measures will be implemented gradually, cautiously, and if conditions are met, the progressive implementation will also happen, and then also will happen if the number of cases and hospitalizations will start declining. So at the moment, we have that major cultural events will not be reauthorized, and beaches will remain closed to the public until at least the 2nd of June. And green spaces virus transmission with low coronavirus transmission rates. Also, what the Prime Minister said, the most important is collective discipline. The exit will be step by step. One step, as he said, will weeks. And after 3 weeks, government will monitor the situation. And the measures could be loosened or reinforced, depending on the situation. The wearing of masks will be compulsory in public transports, and social distancing measures will be enforced. So teleworking will remain the rule for companies where the presence of employees is not essential. Also, the Prime Minister have emphasized 3 principles that French government will follow. So it's progressivity, territoriality, and reversibility, meaning that not everything will reopen immediately and not in every region. The reopening of businesses will depend on the sanitary situation of the department and on the decision of the local authorities. So prefect of the regions, together with the mayors, will decide on the opening or not the businesses. For business to reopen, the safety and sanitary conditions have to be ensured. The Ministry of Labor are preparing the rules for 66 type of businesses. To my knowledge, yesterday or before yesterday, 56 56 guides are ready now, and the 66 will the availability and accessibility of the mask to the professionals and public. The government will cover 50% of masks for the general public. It will be, as government said, testing and isolating. So the rule, again, it's a 3-word rule. So it's protect, test, and isolate. And they're still encouraging online working, because only 10 people could gather together. It has to be 4 square meters per person. So basically 1 meter to every site. So the distancing is very much important. And then enterprises are advised to think about employees' work schedule, maybe to think that some different shifts for different workers. Also, in case also to avoid the rush hours and the public transportation, because the capacity of public transportation will be only 15% in order to respect this. About the exit plan in details.
Okay. Thank you very much. In this interesting times, you know, when so much unclarity, what do you think Lithuanian companies have to do differently in order to enter the French market now or in the coming months? Or
I think we are all living a very difficult period of time. Companies need to be more prepared and to rethink their export strategies. It is important to follow the market needs and to respond quickly. On one hand, it is a window of opportunity, I think, because some of supply chains could become fragile, and the French producers might be willing to look for providers in their supply chain and production chain. And it is important, I think, in this time, reactivity and flexibility. And I believe that Lithuanian companies are capable to adapt to changing environment and to seize the opportunity. My suggestion to Lithuanian businesses is to quickly reconsider their strategies and target the potential partners in France. In the embassy, Ambassador Nerijus Aleksejūnas and myself, we are ready to help Lithuanian companies to enter into contact. However, the business need to have well-tailored idea or strategy with clear future vision, how they are going to position their products and how they're going to market their potential partners and potential consumers. The working methods, as you said, and business models most likely will change in some sectors. And today's our guest is Aurelien, who is CEO of WABEL. I think he will present today its new platform that enables the businesses to work differently while reaching the same or even better results. So this will be a good example how we could transform now our way of working today.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Thank you very much, Daiva. I want to shortly now present our next speaker, Aurelien Van Berten. He is the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of WABEL company. Before launching WABEL company in 2012, Aurelien has started his career in consulting as an analyst and as a trader in the global commodity firm in Asia, Europe, and the United States. He oversees all activities with global purchasing groups and online platform and starts regularly new products to facilitate the connection between suppliers and buyers. Please, Aurelien, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, actually, Rasa, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad, actually, to give you some information, actually, that we collect on the ground from all of our retail partners. And that's really the objective today. And thank you very much, actually, Daiva, for sharing all this information. And I can reasonably say that the world as we knew it before the pandemic is not exactly the same world we live in today. There has been a lot of different changes and a lot of different things that the shoppers will not take into consideration when they will going to look for new products in the retail. I'd like to basically, so quickly, I will try to keep it under 20-25 minutes, this short presentation before actually giving the microphone to Arthur, which is one of our partner and a very dynamic importer of food and beverage in France. The first part is going to be about the European food and beverage market, about what we see in the market and what the purchasing director share with us. Then we'll go quickly in the different European retail chains. So I will name a few of our partners and what are they saying and what are they expecting from you in terms of new products that you will be able to propose during and after actually this current pandemic. And then I think a few tips to help you prepare your upcoming business meetings, whether they are actually online. And I think that's going to be our day-to-day in the next foreseeable futures, and probably like next year in physical meetings. Before that, just a quick introduction for the companies that do not know us already. So I started a company, as Rasa said, about 8 years ago. And the mission of WABEL is to work really closely with the main purchasing groups. So we work with Carrefour, with Intermarché, with key actually importers, and with their competitors in other European markets, such as like Tesco, or Edeka, or Musgrave, or Albertine. And we work really closely with those purchasing groups, with the team actually of 30 people today, to make sure that we understand the needs of the buyers. And that's what I'm going to share with you actually in the next few minutes. And that we are able to connect them with matching suppliers. So basically with your products, in order for you actually to develop new business streams, to attack new sales channels, and which can be really important in those current economic conditions. I talked yesterday with companies who have 80% of their business in the HoReCa sector, so in the restaurants and bars, and how they are going to answer to that crisis, because they need to shift and basically attack the retail business very, very fast, and also the online business, which is, of course, we will see that in a very few seconds, how it's developing today. Online grocery retail has been scaling up, but is accelerating. So WABEL, we basically organize smart business meetings. As I said, we conducted business meetings on our summits, and in 2020, we're going to actually hold those business meetings online. So which means that a lot of companies going to have your agenda with all of the main retailers that I'm going to introduce after. And therefore, you can have an agenda of meetings through this channel. So basically through software where you can showcase your products, your presentation, and also you could send your samples to the buyer before, which is always could be very important according to your product categories. So last year, we just organized 14 summits and over 25,000 meetings with a good matching score, about 98%. And in this current condition, we had to adapt as well. So we cannot just continue the way we did physical meetings. So we do online meetings now. So we're going to start in September, and already in June, we're going to do a lot of different meetings with Tesco, with Amazon, with Carrefour and Intermarché, who are going to meet companies that will be happy to introduce. So I'll share actually the email address if you want to introduce your products. But beside that, it's been 8 years. We have an online platform, and we decided to give it a much wider exposure. So we're going to call it Needle, and you're going to receive an invitation to join the platform. So needle.co, which is actually the platform for you to gain immediate visibility toward global purchasing groups. And we are not starting from scratch. 1,700 buying groups are already on the platform. 200 buyers use it every day to find new products. So it's an excellent way to basically get out there, propose your new products to buyers, even to submit your products to buyers. And I strongly encourage you basically to share with me some of your products, and we can look at it in details. And of course, if your products fits our purchasing groups, we will be more than happy to onboard you on the platform. So this platform, it helps you as well to select your potential clients, to get a very clean idea about who your potential client's going to be. And that's really important, because what we understand is as an export or managing director or sales executive in your firm in FMCG, you'd like to have a tool where in each country you can see your potential clients. And that's what the tool that we develop with your software engineering team is all about. And then you can really easily add your products. And during any event that you can go in the future, you can actually use that data to basically upload that data to other potential websites. So you do it once and for all. And the data that we put on the platform is matching 100% what our buyers that we work with are looking for in terms of certification, in terms of the clients you work with, and in terms of the description of each product. So it's been 7 years that we are fine-tuning the products, and the response rate of the buyers is very, very satisfying, and they appreciate what they see, so they can contact you, they can ask you for a sample, they can basically do business with your company easily. And you can also access the buyer's profile to get more information. So today I'm going to share, as we have a limited time, a few minutes, just some key partners, but you can basically look them back on the platform, see what they're looking at, see how many stores they have, and see if it's a good fit for you to spend time and prepare a presentation for those potential customers. So we will share the presentation so you can see actually the different features that we offer on Needle, and I'll be happy as well to answer all your questions on that. So for a minimum fee, we have the pleasure actually to welcome you on board and to give you the tools to help you compensate the fact that they're probably not going to have any trade show until 2021. Besides our online summit. So let's start. So the European food and beverage market, I'm not going to enter into too details, but just to give you a perspective. So on the global perspective, what we see that since the last really 2 months, since the pandemic really hit hard the European economy, we see that some of the sectors are heavily impacted, and we saw that before, and some of the sectors actually found some growth. So such as the home care with the cleaners, with the tissue papers, where we actually help a lot of buyers to find those items. We also actually help some of our buyers to find masks, protection, like now about 2 months ago that they receive and they use in hospital, thanks God. And also we can see on those charts that fresh food and packaged food has been growing. And that's true that the shoppers are really rushed into the store, really jumped in on the online website to order a lot of necessity items. And if we do a parallel before what the world figures indicates and what the French figure really show, we can see some really close similarities. And when I looked at other countries about this graphic, I can really see that basically it's kind of like a common ground for most of the countries, where really packaged food, so food, beverage, home care, and some personal care products really had a nice progression, and it's to really answer the necessity of the consumer. As Daiva said before, the crisis is there. It's probably here to continue. And as it says with our partners, you monitor the decline in GDP could reach 9%, as Daiva mentioned before, which basically might trigger some uncertainty. Right now, we have a stockpiling effect. So we are working, as I said, with buyers for the last 2 months. We've been working very hard on the supply chain. So since mid-March until mid-May, the buyers are focused on basically those key items, which has the stockpiling effects, like cleaners, staple food items, frozen food product had a double-digit growth. So that's something that we're looking at very, very closely. And all of those products really had a dramatic increase. And those buyers really make sure that they have a supply chain in place to avoid empty shelves on the products that the buyers are looking for today. And then there is a channel shifts, because the on-trade, so restaurants, bars, it's heavily impacted, and nobody really knows when it's going to be back to normal. It's like a bit the airline, right? So the airline anticipate that for the next 2 years, they're going to be, we are done on the curve, but it's not going to get back up 100%, but it can take like up to 24% to get back to a level where it was pre-pandemic. So that's kind of what we see, and that's what I believe, or the expert that we read every day also believe that they're going to be a transition, and shoppers are going to adapt, and some of the product categories that are not necessity will come back, but at a different speed for each categories. But for us, I'm going to share really what we see on the market. So this is the pre-pandemic major trends, but what we're going to see actually after the 4 slides is that most of those trends, or most of those buyers' needs, are here to stay, and this pandemic actually are going to bring back also more opportunities into those already trends that were already in place. So we're going to see even more opportunities. So we're going to start with clean label. So I encourage you actually, when you go out there, and if we work together, when you present your products to new buyers, that you can reinforce your commercial presentation with those key trends, because even as I said, the buyers, they are very focused on supply chain. Starting in mid-May, they are looking to have new opportunities, right? So everything is a matter of timing. If you call a buyer for an NPD last month, I was talking to a snack company yesterday, and they were supposed to enter 2 European markets with 2 major retailers. It has been postponed, but it's not going to be postponed indefinitely. It's going to be postponed until the end of the first semester for the information that we have today. So when you're going to pitch again to new potential customer, especially if you're in this channel shift kind of paradigm where it's going to give you a solid and robust growth. Let's say you did more business in restaurants before, you need to adapt in retail, boom. After the crisis, when the restaurant business is going to be back up, you will have developed a whole new sales channel that will be here for your company to stay in the long-term future. So what are the main elements that the buyers were looking at pre-pandemic, and that, as I said, we'll look at starting like June, July, where they're going to be very open to see new products because the stockpiling effect will be behind them, and now they are ready to listen. So clean label and honest, so always very transparent and healthy products, convenience, well-being, and functional, and the last is packaging. So clean label, it just simply means that the shoppers are really looking, when they turn the products, what do they see on the products? Is it like natural ingredients? Is it healthy for them? Right? So very, very simple. Second is convenience, even more with the crisis. So I looked at data from the UK or Germany, and the convenience store, so the foot traffic in smaller stores in urban cities were already increasing, and it continues because shopper, maybe they don't want to go to hypermarkets where it can be very crowded, or the huge store. In Germany, they closed store about 800 square meters. So it's just to show you that, yeah, the traffic continues to grow in those convenience stores, and a lot of people are isolated or will continue to basically limit social interaction, which means that the food to go within this convenience format, smaller package, small individual portion, smaller drink, or for what, like individual household where there is one person per household, want something very easy to snack and basically keeping healthy, right? So if you're looking at launching new products, I really encourage you to think of those trends and to reinvent and create additional new products that fit the shopper expectation. So this is just a few examples of what it can mean to basically target this convenience growth. And Arthur, actually, that will speak right after me, is targeting a lot the convenience stores and is looking, it will see more those kind of products. Well-being and functional. So functional drinks, functional products is going to be stronger than ever. So something to basically boost immunity. So everybody now is looking for immunity, whether you started with like simple vitamins, and now we see the consumption is moving towards drinks that you may not have tried before, but consumers are looking into it, like kombucha or pre and probiotic. Pre and probiotic is really strong in drinks. Now it comes as well in the food and snack sectors, where basically you can do well to your body and basically have a functional aspect. And the more complex is the market, the more it resonates with the buyer. I was speaking last week with the buyers from a London retail chains, and what they are looking at today, it told me about immunity products in food and beverage, even in the non-food with like collagen. Collagen actually can use in the different sort of products. Is looking at also like keto diets. So they are looking for kind of like elaborated products, which I was surprised because I thought like the value products are going to be here to stay in their mindset. And I think that the value products post-pandemic will still continue to have a strong growth. But having said that, a lot of consumers, especially if you target well your potential customers, have the capacity to sell to the shoppers products that are slightly different, and will give you a door to enter in this new pocket growth, I would say. And the major, it's not a trend, it's like a major request, right, that our buyers want to see from you companies is like, how do you interpret, how do you understand the packaging, I would say, revolution. So packaging is a topic that we've been working on the past 6 to 9 months now. We identify a few hundred players that have the capabilities to use sustainable, recyclable, less plastics or no plastic actually packaging for your products in order to appeal more to the end shoppers really. And they got in touch with a company who basically revamped the whole product range. They do something around 20 million euro in ambient snacks and meal replacements, and they changed their entire range in March. And based on consumer feedback and the feedback of the consumer, that number one point that is important for them in their products, but it's same for other product categories, is like the packaging. How your brand is good for me, for the environment, for the actually everybody, and especially the younger generation. So if you look at Generation Z, so basically the people that are born after like I would say in 2000, right? So 2000, where they are really like going to have like more purchasing power now, and the purchasing product translates in, okay, how this brand is telling me a good story about how it's good for the planet. So everybody has its own opinion on that, and totally okay. But the consumer really are the one making the final decision for all your products, and that's really what it shows in all of the studies, and the retailers are here to testify firsthand. So we're gonna do, as I said, as the other category, virtual summit with Tesco, with Intermarché. We already started with Sonai, and we introduced to those players a lot of new packaging companies. So we invite, if you have in your company somebody looking at packaging as well, to join, because we have a lot of brands who want to participate with the retailers to find their next best packaging. And we work also with groups like major FMCG companies who are changing 100% of their packaging capabilities, and sometimes they have to work with co-packers just to meet the regulation of the countries, right? Because for each country there is regulation. By 2021 there is certain percentage of recyclable packaging, and for the other countries as well. So very quickly, so sustainable packaging, as I said, is a major plus, and it's here to stay. So post-COVID trends, so what the consumer will be interested to look at, based on some recent studies, is consumer also can reconnect with a shelf-stable food. They bought a lot of like pasta, rice, canned food tins in the past 8 weeks with like a bit like panic buy. So some of the consumer will basically stick also for those kind of products. So you can give opportunities, functional, so high immunity based products, and also the sales channel that online is really big. Click and collect have been growing massively in France, just to give an example, and a lot of new shopper experiences for the first time. And also in some countries, mainly Asia as well, a smart vending machine where you have no interaction. So in a very few minutes, so an overview of the European retail chains. So just a few purchasing groups we know well, we work with, that I can give you a first element. You can ask me all the question also during the presentation or after, and can send me a mail if you have question about other purchasing groups that we work with. Before working with the European retailers, and before going into some of the key purchasing groups we work with, I wanted to just make you a reminder that private label also has been growing during this pandemic because it's value, right? There is always kind of a price gap between the brand and between private label. So just sharing some number here, where you can see that the percentage of private label in Western Europe is actually really high, and in Central and Eastern Europe, actually it's been growing steadily, and we see some strong tailwind ahead. Private label, as I said, in the different countries that I gathered here on this studies, it can outperform actually the growth of the brands. So that's why when you're going export, always keep in mind when you present to the buyers, what is your competition in private brands and in brands, so you can mention to the buyers where your product fits exactly on the shelf, whether it's foods, drinks, beauty, healthy products, and maybe you want also actually to sell to those retailers in private label. And it means as well that you really have also to innovate. Just a quick chart here that I'm going to explain is the private label has been growing, and also it's going to continue to grow. And these graphics shows that the more concentrated a market is, the higher the share of the private label is, which means that when there is one retailer in a country that have a big market share, I'm thinking about Mercadona, we're going to see in Spain, or Tesco, which has also 30% of the market, or Leclerc in France, who have like now over 22% and is the first player in France of the market share. Everybody knows this brand, so they are more inclined to buy a private label. And Rêvé yesterday, the CEO, Mr. Souquet, said that in this pandemic is looking to make serious acquisition about retailers. So the more the big players will basically integrate new supermarket chains, the more their market share, of course, going to increase. So the more private label as well is going to increase. So it's either an opportunity if you sell private label, or something you have to look at if you're a brand. Mm-hmm. And private label, it's not, if you export your brand, it's basically not like what you can imagine in the 80s, where it's very basic products. But you can see here on these slides that the private brand products, 70% of the innovation in private brands come from the supplier. So it's already a strong innovation. And you can see that the graphics, the look and feel is getting more subtle, and the subcategories are getting stronger. So there is retailers looking for vegan, new product range, a free from product range. So as well, they are innovating. So a few examples. So just a few slides here. German markets, what we've seen really is like the internet retailing is growing. There are about 10 players that we do actually work with in Germany that are really doing well in the internet retailing. They are from major retailers we're going to look at, such as Rêvé, which is the #1 in online, and Edeka, which is the largest player, #2 in online. And then there is like specialized websites, so grocery online pure player, that are also very interesting potential customers. They have a possibility to onboard more products on their platform, so they don't have those shelf constraints. So they can actually look at your NPD, look at your new products, look at your product range in a different manner than the paradigm that the physical retailer had before. And depending on the numbers, that's a very good potential customers. So Edeka, #1 retail chains in Germany, a very strong growth in convenience stores and also in healthy and organic stores. They even launched their organic chains, where they're going to rethink about how they source the products, and they will onboard a whole set of new suppliers. So they're not going to use the same vendors that they used to work with for the regular supermarkets. So when there is opportunities like this, it's always a good way to keep your ears open to new channels that are opening to enter those new markets. Rêvé, largest companies doing online, so very strong growth, and they are very focused on reduced sugar and healthier product categories, and also the smaller store with Rêvé to go stores. And the discounters, yes, they are the #1 in Europe and #2 respectively with Lidl and Aldi, because they are present in 26 countries. So if we add up their market share, all of us, country after country, of course, they are big now. But from the feedback we have on both sides, it can be also a very interesting customer if you have the production capacity as well to meet their requirements. And for the first time, Aldi delivered something online during the pandemic, where it was like a package for like £30. So it was in the UK, and they deliver like about 20 products to the shopper with all the necessary items. So as well, they also change slightly their business model to adapt. So everybody is adapting in the economy during this pandemic and offer a new business. So German market, I would say, is like very healthy, conscious, very price oriented, and whether the UK market, and again, I'm more than happy to speak with each one of your company after and in the next months. But the UK market is really focused on innovation, new products. After June, now it's a bit too early, but we're going to start very soon, and we're going to see that it's a very, very dynamic market, and therefore it's new opportunities for the companies. So Tesco is the largest players. We work well with them. They are the sourcing department, and we're going to start with 4 thematics with them soon on healthy products, functional drinks, organic products, and vegan and plant-based. And plant-based also is something that is continuing to grow and is going to accelerate in the second semester back to more, I think, normal figures. Food to go as well, they developed, and also discount stores where they launch. Asda, a large actually company owned by Walmart, and they have been steadily looking as well at vegan products, plant-based. So all of the main products, trends that buyers are requesting from us pre-pandemic and starting again in late of the first semester. Certification for the UK, it's mainly BRC, as you may know. If you have any question on the certification for the different market, don't hesitate to ask me. All right. So we see like Sainsbury and Waitrose. So I would say that there is like the big supermarket like Tesco, Sainsbury, Asda, And there is a Waitrose, which is more like high-end supermarkets. So it's like a bit more the up market with more premium products. So depending on where you want to play in the market, you have basically to adapt and choose your prospect very wisely. And we can, of course, advise on that. And as you see, Waitrose also developed stores in London, in petrol station, so different opportunities to still go with the food convenience items. Then Ocado, pure player, of course, during the crisis, they increased a lot their orders. And to give you a taste about how strong they are now in their technology to deliver food to you directly to your door, or sometimes before actually to your kitchen. No, it's more like in front of your building, but they have been using that technology, which basically know you better than maybe your immediate family or something like that. Because if you like your fruit ripe to maturity, they have all the technology that is necessary that when it gets to your door, every single item is the way you like it. So it's just to make you see that the technology is really there today to have a fantastic user experience for online grocery retail, and it's going to be here to stay. And I take this opportunity to invite you all tomorrow to a webinar we do with Amazon. So if you want to sell to Amazon, we do a webinar tomorrow. We can relay this information, and Enterprise Lithuania as well, where you could connect freely on the webinar. And actually, it's not to sell as the seller on the marketplace, it's to receive directly purchase order from Amazon in what we call the Amazon Vendor Central. So it's going to be the UK team, and that's why I'm saying it now after Ocado, because we're going to start with the UK team for a European actually expansion with Amazon. So if you're looking to sell online, it's probably a good step to join the webinar tomorrow morning with the Amazon team, and we'll explain how that works, how to submit their products, and as soon as they validate your brand and products, they can start having purchase order and to sell it directly through their warehouse. So very, very good opportunities as well, and I invite you to join this new business opportunity with Amazon. Irish market, briefly, so there are like mainly like three dominant players. So it's a country where you have like three different but very large players. So it's good because you can really choose the one that fits better your product range. So I would say the biggest purchasing groups, Musgrave, we work very closely with them. So it's a traditional retail chains with different store formats. They have convenience stores with day-to-day, daybreak, etc., and super value, which is like a supermarket chains. So they represent over 20% of the market, and they recently acquired a company called Donnybrook, and we are doing actually business meetings in next week and in June. So if you're interested as well to work with Donnybrook, you can submit your products, and we're going to have like we're going to organize about 100 business meetings together in June with the Donnybrook buying groups, and they have a team of about 10 buyers, and they have now 4 stores and online, and it's more like upscale premium. So if you have a premium brand looking for an opportunities in Ireland, this is an excellent customers for you. Then Dunnes, so another 20% of the markets, so very easily readable market. So this one, Dunnes, it's like a department store, more like Mark and Spencer look and feel. So very nice product range. And just to give you an example, what they have in private label. So with single origin, functional, clean label, and recyclable packaging. So they follow all the trends already for the last 2 years. And in Ireland, actually, the last big player as well is Tesco, with also a 20% market share. For the Dutch market, also a lot of online opportunities with like companies like Picnic, which is an online supermarkets, but just the main players that we work with. So Superany, 30% of the market share, and it's a buying alliance. So they buy a lot of like large brand, or they can start working with your companies if you can provide some great products for their private label. So they help small retailers So small store, all of those stores to have a comprehensive and good range of private label assortments. So this is mostly for private label. And then we have Albertine. Albertine, more, I will say, in the innovation, more upscale. They innovate a lot with new brands and also with their private label. They have one buying office, so one team of buyer for each country they are present in. So don't forget it, right? Albertine, you have a team, of course, in the Netherlands, but also a great team with great stores, in Belgium, in Czech Republic, and other countries where they are present. Jumbo, just an overview. A player that we have been working with for a number of years. They are growing fast. They grew by organic and also by acquisition, and they have very great stores, very good assortments. They keep their price right. They meet their commitments to their shopper, and we're gonna deliver also some great online business meeting over the course of the next months. And yes, very dynamic player, and always looking for new products for their shopper. So really, here are some of the players that are happy actually to continue their sourcing. Belgian markets, again, 3 main players who take most of the European retail business. Colruyt, which is more kind of a discounter, if you say, with their initial like big stores. And then Delhaize, which is part of our Delhaize group, so more upscale. And the last player being Carrefour, with another 20% and 800 stores, which offer actually a good alternative and traditional supermarkets. For the Spanish market, really, like, there is a dominant player called Mercadona, with like a quarter of the total business in Spain. They are not the only one. There is Mercadona. There is also a big buying group like Supereni called IFA, and there is some chain as well, and some specialists like Eroski, El Corte Inglés that you may have heard, with like department stores. But just a figure. So right now, for the Spanish market, what we understand is, big focus on the supply chain with the value items. But now they are going to start looking in June, July for seasonal products, Christmas, Easter 2021. So we're going to start that business meetings in June, July, and not wait and postpone too much in the calendar. So that's what we see as well in Spain. For the French retailer, I'm going to only give the figures, and Arthur will go through the French retailers. And we have really today 7 players. So you can see we have different one between the one that operate as a cooperative model, where every store is independent with a business owner, and the one that are virtually integrated store groups like Carrefour, Casino, Auchan. Casino and Carrefour are stock listed companies, so it's public companies, very vertically integrated, and Auchan is a family-owned business. So Arthur will go through the specifics. As you can see here on the latest figures, I put on the top screen in red the market share per retail chains. So it helps you to visualize how important those end customers are. Either you go directly or mainly, I recommend as well, if you're pushing your brands, to use a great importer. So Carrefour is now the number 2, and Leclerc has been actually in the leading position. But Intermarché has been grabbing some market shares, and it's very positive. And as you can see, Lidl has also so decreased a bit in the market share, but still continued now to be an interesting player. I cannot end this part of the introducing the European retailers in France with not talking about the specialists, because organic products has been having a very steady growth, and the more it grows, the more it accelerates actually. So I think that if you have an organic range, it's a very good time already for the past 2 to 3 years, but it continues to actually introduce your organic, whether it's like beauty, personal care, food, beverage, all the FMCG. It goes as well in the consumer mind at healthy, equal, kind of organic. So you basically kind of like leverage this consumer assumption that organic is healthy. So that's why as well, it still continue to grow. And even during the current pandemic, l'Agence Bio, which is kind of like the barometer, is giving some strong figures. And you can see where it shops. So traditional retail chains, mass retail, Carrefour, Auchan, Intermarché, Casino, and also organic store. So a third of the volume is done through companies like Biocop, which is the #1 specialized stores, La Vie Claire, which has been adding a lot of new stores, opening new stores in the past years. Naturalia, part of the Casino group, but specialized to organic or healthy products. That has been a really good potential customers for a lot of companies we work with. So as I want to give very quickly the microphone to Arthur, just the part 3 is just some tips that I'll be happy to share also about how to prepare your upcoming business meeting. So something that we work with Tesco, Carrefour, and a few players that kind of like what they would like to see when you have a meeting, and especially a video meeting, because in a video meeting, the attention span, and that's why I'm going fast, it could be shorter. So in the good timing for a meeting in online is about 20-25 minutes as a business meetings, which give you about 8-10 minutes to present your company and then to have like a lot of Q&A. And after this session, it's already like 90% like the buyers have an idea if he's going to pursue the conversation or not. So it's like time to shine in 8-10 minutes with the introduction about who you are. So you can take a pen and paper, who you are, your company, and key figures. You can put it in 100 words. So it's going to be 1 minute, 100 words, 1 minute. Just keep it short and tidy, and you can put the introduction very well. So who you are, your company, date created, number of sites, employees, the revenue, your gross. Then more company details. If you are manufacturers, if you're a brand working with a co-packer, your certification, your customers, main channels, main distribution channels. And then you can go in the third part, which is really important. So now that the buyers has a good assumption about who you are, your company, how you are structured, is like how you're gonna explain your products. So what are you proposing? You can share market data, right? If you're going, for example, with birch water or any other products that may be a bit new to consumer, you want to back up that with strong figures for each of the markets you are presenting. So the buyers say, okay, there is a growth in my market. I was not really aware. And I remind you, buyers change position. Usually our product categories every 18 to 24 months, right? So their understanding is large, but if you have been decades in the business, you have some value information to share with the potential buyers. And it's really the moment to do it. Your objective, why you are doing that products, why you are innovative. During this COVID and post-pandemic, you have like maybe a new set of like food to go, healthier products, immunity products that you want to show. So why you're doing it, and what is your unique selling point? And that's always very tricky, because unique selling points you will need to look at the assortments of your prospective buyers to know why you're unique for them. And that's really what they are looking at. So if you can prove you're unique for them and it matches their shoppers, you're almost sure you're going to do the business. And show your best sellers, some key figures, and you can put even some recommended selling price, so to the end customers, not your price to the retailers. So how much the shopper could buy it, and of course reinforce it with what you already know with the buyer assortments. And also launch new products often. It keeps a good relationship with your prospective customers and a good opportunity for you to come back to them with great products that you can share with them. So if you want to contact me, here it is. We're going to organize session as well with Arthur from Taste in a week or two, and you can also send your proposal. If it's easier to remember, hello@wabel.com or at my email address, aurelien@wabel.com. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Aurelien. Well, that was a very comprehensive presentation, but very beneficial, I think. And a lot of companies, I hope, will have a lot of questions and interest to contact you.
Thank you.
News, we have already 20 companies, 20 Lithuanian companies registered for the B2B session.
Nice.
So it's
perfect.
Indeed some good prospects. It was very interesting to hear the trends. My feeling is that the Lithuanian food industry really is following those trends, especially the ecological, the sustainable. So I think the prospects are there, just maybe a little bit ambition is needed on the private labels. With a lot of said, when do you think is the best time to start to launch the new product?
Yes, so right now is a very good time to prepare. So really like prepare, get your new NPD out, really like finish, brush the latest design if you're looking like for a new range, especially like when you've been thinking about expanding your sales channel. So if you really want to attack the retail you didn't before, or you already did, but you want to go more convenience because you know it's the future, right now is a good time to get your sales presentation, your products ready, what kind of the products you want. And starting, as I said, in June, on July is going to be a good time to start. And of course, like September, October, November are going to be great time before the annual negotiation. We start early December. So before December, it's really a good time to do it. And that's why we will do like several thousands actually online meetings with a lot of different buyers, because between June and November is going to be a good window of opportunities to place well thought through products for the post or like new world that we know today.
You mentioned online meetings. What do you think? How it will be beneficial in the future for the suppliers and buyers to the online meetings? This is now the trend, but will it keep the same way in the future?
Thank you. Yeah, well, what I've seen and what I've been discussing with a lot of different of our clients, of suppliers and also buyers, is that they were not really accustomed to it before. For many companies, it was the first time they do a proper business meetings online. When I say proper, it's with a good presentation, well thought through, showcase the product, maybe send a sample before. So do it more in a professional way. And the result has been there. And some of the people saying, I didn't travel for 3,000 kilometers, spend a week for a potential buyer that may or may not buy. And there have been some strong value into it. So we believe that physical meetings are really important, and we are really excited to start doing it again as soon as January, because that's our bread and butter. But I think that for us, it's the online meeting is we want to put it in a very professional way, and we're going to do that in 2020 with all of the online summits, but it's here to continue. And especially what I believe now on certain product categories, we will be specific and matching precisely the sourcing calendar of the purchasing groups we work with. So for example, like February, March for Christmas, product assortments and so on. So we will be able, and we believe that we'll be able to continue that virtual meetings 2021 and onwards on very specific thematics, which will give a lot of added value for both sellers and buyers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Arthur Arnaud. He's a sales director, supplier relations manager, and sourcing manager at Taste Distribution Company since October 2018. He spent 7 years at Innocent France Company in sales and marketing, which allowed him to have a perfect knowledge of the GMS in the world of consumer products. So please, Arthur, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Rasa, for this introduction, and Thank you, Enterprise Lithuania, for having me today. I'm very glad to be with you. So hello, everybody. Nice to meet you on Zoom. Hope you hear me well and you are still there. First of all, I hope everybody is safe at the moment during this strange situation of coronavirus lockdown period. Hope your activity brands are not impacted by this current situation. So I am Arthur Harnois, and I'm working as a sales and sourcing manager at Test Distribution, a French distributor on the French market. And the objective of this presentation is to introduce you Test Distribution and to present a quick overview of the French market, especially concerning the French retailer. So first of all, here is a summary. First of all, I will tell you our little story. Then I will tell you who we are, and next what we do. And finally, I will show you the portfolio of Test Distribution. So let me start with our little story. With this brand called Carré Suisse. In 2012, Cyril Jacques decided to create his own brand of premium chocolate bars called Carré Suisse on the French market. The packaging is very, very great, and the taste is fantastic. So you have to taste the product when you will be able to come back in France. Hope it will be very soon. The founder of this brand started to sell his products store per store in France, and he started by Paris. When he decided to develop the brand on the French distribution, he decided to meet the main distribution actors on the French market. At the end, he found positive points and negative points, and the main fact was, actually, all the big actors of distribution on the French market are selling a lot of brands. So it will be very, very difficult for a young premium food brands to emerge in their offer, to exist in their offer. So that's why Cyril decided to create Test Distribution, a human-sized distributor on the French market. And at the beginning, the idea was to sell young brands, young French brands, and now we are managing distribution mainly for European brands who want to launch their product on the French market. So here is some key data. Test Distribution was created in 2005, so we are quite young. Actually, we are 40 employees. We are made of young and passionate people, especially on food and beverages market. We are sourcing young premium food, snacks, and beverages, and we are distributing them in more than approximately 2,000 points of sale in all over the country. We have a portfolio of 20 brands. I will show you after all the main brands of our portfolio. And we are dealing with two fundamental geographic areas. We are focused on two regions. First of all, the Paris and all the Parisian region, all the departments around Paris called Île-de-France, and also in Lyon, in the southeast of France, and all the Rhône-Alpes region. So we are covering the two main regions of snacking products in France. We are visiting also, we are visiting many stores in the French Alps too. So it allows us to have some activities during winter or summer season in the French Alps. So concerning now who we are and what we do, let's talk about who we are. Sorry. Since 5 years now, our ambition is to become a special partner for the French GMS, for the French retailer, in terms of sourcing products, in terms of distribution products. How can do that? Since many years, we know customers' needs, store per store. We know each demand of our clients. We can anticipate trends, and we also can adapt our sourcing on demand. So all these features allow us to become a young and serious actor for the French GMS. GMS, it's you know, the conventional retail in France. So we are, as we can say, we are a turnkey distributor. Our main objective is to be a 360 degrees distributor in charge of everything. First, we manage the sourcing products, the sourcing of the products. We are taking care of the importation in France, and we are taking care of the distribution in all over the country in more than 2,000 stores. And we can do that with a strong network with our buyers, with all the buyers, retailers, and also thanks to us, our strong expertise as brand creator. For example, we have created some brands, for example, with Komercijos. Next, we have our own dedicated field sales force with a powerful team of commercial guys who are doing weekly visits in stores. It's not common for a distributor to have their own guys on the field. Then we have our own warehouse near Paris for speed and agility. We have an integrated system of logistics and some digital solution developed by ourselves. For example, we have our proper smartphone app for field reporting on order. Let me give you an example. A commercial guy is visiting a store. We know everything of the visit and everything of the commercial guy action in store. We know the hour of entrance, hour of exit. We know we have an access to his reporting to some photos. So at the end of the visit, when he's making an order with a minimum amount, immediately the order comes to our office to be checked, and the office is sent to our warehouse after, and we are working with it's in France, it's called A2C order. So it means that you make the make the order on Monday, and we will deliver the store on Wednesday, so two days after. And finally, we have our own delivery trucks, and we have some test distribution driver to forward goods to store every week. So with all these four characteristics, we control everything in the distribution chain. So it's a real strength because we have our own employees in all of distribution jobs. So at the moment, due to coronavirus various periods, our business is working pretty well. We are still doing some business with our partner and our clients. Concerning our clients, I show you three categories. The first of all is the convenience store. Thanks to the Aurelien presentation, he told you that we are really focused on this circuit. This circuit is very important actually on the French market with a very important growth. So we are dealing with stores like retailers as Franprix, G20, Adepa, Monop, and Carrefour City. We know all the Parisian shop. We I think I could say we are the best in these circuits, especially in Paris, because it's quite complicated to deal store per stores with this kind of circuits. We also are dealing with hypermarket and hypermarkets, for example, as Leclerc, Auchan, Carrefour, and Intermarché Système U. This is huge store, and you can find the best, the most VIP hypermarket and supermarket in Île-de-France and also in Rhône-Alpes region. And finally, we catch some opportunities and some deals with the HoReCa, the out-of-home circuits. Very often, the clients ask us to find a specific product for the seasonal offer, for example, special menu in chain restaurant, for example, and we do the sourcing for them. So that was about our clients. So we are mainly focused on GMS, convenience and hypermarket, supermarket, and sometimes we catch some opportunities on HoReCa circuits. Concerning our portfolio, there is 3 categories, 3 ranges: sweet grocery, salty grocery, and beverages without alcohol. So let me show you very quickly what we have in our portfolio. Concerning our portfolio for sweet grocery, we have Carrefis, the first brand of the story of test distribution in premium bars and also in snacking bars. We have a brand of crunchy muesli and also cereal bars, and finally we have an One brand from Greece. Concerning salty grocery, we have some chips, olive oils, olives, and we are also working with Juste Bio, which is the leader, the number 1 of bulk organic products. About pasta, nuts, breakfast preparation, and something like that. And as Aurelien told about the very impact of the packaging, we are very proud to work with Juste Bio, because, for example, as you see the packaging at the back of Juste Bio Plaisir Nature, and Juste Bio launched last year the first sustainable and compostable packaging on the market. It's an organic brand, so they are very dedicated to find sustainable solution for the customers. And finally, we've got some beverages, for example, as Vitit, Vita Coco, and that's it. This is our portfolio for beverages. And concerning, I will finish this quick presentation. I'm trying to keep, the rule of 8 minutes for presentation, as Aurelien said. Concerning our sourcing rules, there is 5 important values. First of all, we absolutely need to find premium products, because we need to guarantee goods and attractive snacks, food, and beverages to our clients. That's why we are working with a lot of point of sale, because they are waiting for us to find for them some premium products. The second value is we do not have chilled logistics, so we are totally focused on ambience goods. The third one is that as your brand will be new on the French market, for the first purchase, customer and clients have to understand very quickly and very easily the product. That's why we are trying to find like a recognizable product. We are dealing with DDP pricing with all our suppliers, so it means that your price in you have the price of the product, but DDP pricing, you have the price of the product plus the transportation cost to our French warehouse. And finally, the French pack, it's perfect. But if you have an English front of pack, we absolutely need to have at least ingredient in French on the back of pack, and also nutritional values in French too, because this is it's legal. This is the French law. You absolutely need to have at least French ingredient or ingredient translated in French and nutritional value in French. Concerning our two kind of collaboration with brands, we have two types of collaborations. The first one, it's option one. You are not already distributed on the French market. We manage everything, the launch, the distribution from scratch, with your advices and with your commercial and marketing objectives. The second option, for example, your product are already distributed in at least one retailer. We will, I think, you will have some question about retailer. We will talk in the Q&A session. So you have one national listing in one retailer. We can manage the distribution to this actual retailer, for example, as a logistics platform delivery. But as we have your product in our warehouse, we will sell your brand to independent stores, for example, as Leclerc, as Super U, or as Intermarché. But we will also present the product to other retailers in order to get more national listings. So there is two options. We can start from scratch and do everything for you, but we can also deal with you. We can be in charge of your actual retailer logistic platform delivery, and then as we have your product in our warehouse, we will send it store per store at independent stores, and also we will present your product, your brand, to other buying retailers. And that's it for me. I don't know if I be clear. I'm trying to do my best to be clear and not to be long, to keep the 8 minutes challenge of Aurelien.
We will still have questions to comment upon. So
okay, perfect.
Very much, Arthur.
Thank you.
Showed briefly the slide about French retailers, but could you comment what is specific about French retailer?
Yeah. I have some slides because each time we have some webinar from conference with WABEL. There is a lot of question about that. So let me show you, for example, how the French retail is organized on the French market. So Aurelien told very quickly about that in his presentation. So you have two types of retailers, of stores. You have the centralized one, as for example Carrefour, Auchan, Groupe Casino, and Monoprix. And on the other side, you have independent one. So concerning the centralized circuit, this is national company, and national company is owner of stores, and stores are managed by employees director. So the director of a centralized stores is not the owner of the stores. You absolutely need to have a national listing to sell your product into this retail chains, and they are organized with a national purchasing structure. So there is, for example, one beverage buyer at Carrefour. You have a lot of meeting with the buyer. You sign the national listing, and then you can get your products all over the country in all the Carrefour stores. On the other hand, you have independent stores. So the stores are owned by a CEO. So the director is the owner and the CEO of the store. And they have dedicated national purchasing structure and logistics structure. And with this independent store, you can have national listing. So you can deal, for example, with a Super U buyer national listing. But as this is independent, they are independent stores, you can have some like a store, like a local deal, store per store. So, for example, I can, if you have a pasta brand from Lithuania, you do not have any national listing on the French market. I have your brand on my warehouse. I can go store per store to all the Leclerc point of sales and to sell it directly store per store. And they have like I have a slide just after concerning Leclerc. And in general, independent stores, they have national purchasing structure and also some regional logistic agency, logistic structure too. For example, if I show you just Leclerc example, you have 3 levels of deal. You have, first of all, called GALEC. It's the national purchasing group of Leclerc. So this is the level number 1. The level number 2, it's called SCA. This is regional purchasing agencies. You can see the map on the left, and you have, for example, for Leclerc, you have 16 SCA agencies, and you also have to deal with this regional agency to have your products list in stores. And finally, as Leclerc is an independent retailer, you can deal easily not easily, but you can deal store per store with all Leclerc stores all over the country. And finally, Aurelien talked about the organic retailers in France. It's very important to understand that if you already sell your product to one conventional retailer, you cannot sell exactly the same product to an organic retailer. For example, we on Carré Suisse, chocolate premium bar, we have some SKU with as organic products, but we can, as we are already sell, for example, at Monoprix, we cannot sell the same product at Naturalia. Monoprix and Naturalia, it's the same group, it's a Casino group, it's a Monoprix Casino group, and you cannot sell exactly the same product. The recipe inside could be the same, but you have to change packaging and sometimes to change the name of the brand. For example, on the other slide, I have the example of Björg and Bonter, two very famous French actors on the organic market. This is exactly the same product inside, but you have Björg, the brand Björg for the GMS, the conventional retail, and you have Bonter, another brand with another packaging on the organic retail, on the organic circuit. So this is like the French law, the French specific details.
Very interesting.
And we are not, and just to finish, we at the moment we are totally mainly focused on GMS. We are not visiting and dealing with organic retailers.
Okay, so just the general.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And how is your company impacted by the current health situation in the country? Can you share with us a little how you deal with that?
Yeah, we are pretty lucky. As you know, food stores and retailers are still open in France. So as we manage all the every step on the distribution chain, our business is still doing pretty well. When, for example, some other distributors are totally dependent on logistic and partnership activities. As we have our warehouse, we have our dedicated field sales force, our own truck, and also all the test distribution driver. The activity is going well at the moment. And for example, during April, we had a turnover sales growth of plus 20% compared to the same months last year. So we are doing well. But the only negative points is that our snacking products are suffering a little bit. Sales are quite down because, as you know and understand, that French customers are buying functional goods at the moment, and they are not. They prefer the large size packaging, and they are not buying some snacking goods.
Yeah. The behavior of the buyers is changing.
Yeah.
Just a surprise question. Do you know any Lithuanian products? Have you come across of any Lithuanian foods in the French supermarkets?
No, not at all. But I hope I will have a lot of meeting with WABEL after to find some opportunities to launch some Lithuanian brands on the French market. And as Aurelien said, from the beginning of the lockdown in France, since I think it's now 51 days today, we are like a pretty young distributor, but with like passionate people of food and digitals. We had a lot of internet, lot of some how do you say video conference with some buyer, and we need to adapt our way to do business, especially we cannot actually meeting face to face in one-to-one all the buyers, the retailers, the retail buyers. So we have to change. We can send us some samples of our new brands, and we can have some chat like today, thanks to internet. And we trying to do our best to keep going and to keep pushing to launch many new brands of snacks, foods, and beverages with alcohol on the French market.
Great. We will shortly move to the Q&A session. I have here a list of questions, but before, Daiva, the same question to you. Maybe since you've been in France for quite some time, would you share your experience about the Lithuanian products on the French market?
Hello. Yes, so we have some Lithuanian products on the French market. We have Vichy with their fish products, and they are in the big retail stores in the chains. So they have their own distribution company here in France. They're doing pretty well. We have Žemaitijos pienas with Džiugas cheese that are also trying to enter in big chains, including the chains that were mentioned by the experts, Aurelien, Arthur. So they are trying to enter in the retail chains in France through the central achat, for the central buying offices. And I think they are at the final negotiations to get in the national listing. We also have SIP. So this is jus de bouleau, tai yra beržų sula, and some other products that are not necessarily all the time on the market, but they appear sometimes, and not necessarily they are continue with the sales. So we hope that we could have much more products on the market, help to WABEL and help to the Arthur's company. So we encourage very much Lithuanian companies to get in contact with us, to prepare their products and positioning in the market. And I hope this information that Aurelien provided and Arthur provided, how to prepare the product, how to position the product, how to know your competition, it will help for Lithuanian companies to prepare and to start entering the market.
Thank you. So now I have a few questions here from our viewers. Okay, there's a group of questions mostly to, I think, Aurelien and Arthur. People are asking how to get contacts of retailers in their websites. They submit just general contacts. What things should I write in the letter to emphasize so that it reaches to those people in charge? Yeah, and the similar question, how could we introduce ourselves effectively to our products to the retailers? Asked by Ms. Gintarė Serafinaitė. So possibly I refer this question to Aurelien, please.
Yes, thank you very much, actually, Rada. So I think I'm a bit biased here, but definitely I think that come back to the initial points, which is, okay, which really purchasing groups you should target first, and based on that, their product assortment and what you can bring to put together the sales presentation templates that I showed with the different key points, and then to address the specific buyers. Well, so far, besides social networks, there is no way really through a website or through the phones to get through the buyers, and that's why basically we started those business meetings, basically because we have a direct contact with the different buyers, and then we present to them the different products. And Needle, the online platform, is here to make it more digital and basically to give a portal to the companies to submit their products, and then it folds the hand into the right buyers, and we have to provide manual support to make sure that the buyers can see the products and can decide, oh yes, it's a good fit for my business, or I give a reply saying, okay, maybe it's not a good fit for now, or the product is not entirely for me right now.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to remind our viewers that if you want to contact the retailers, please register for the B2B online session with Aurelien and with Arthur. The registration link was in the comments area. There's one more question. I think it's related to Aurelien again. What is the fee to join your network? I remember you showed a slide with some pricing.
Yeah, that's so for the Needle online platform, the fee is €990 per year or €99 per month. So it's very affordable fee, which is minimum to gain basically the support on the platform to work, to be there, to showcase your products, to submit the products, receive viewers, and to showcase this great profile that match buyers' needs. So you can send it to any prospective buyers you have, whether you want to get a meeting, online meeting, or even like physical meeting at their office as well. So it's a versatile tool to help you every day during your expansion.
one more question to you, Aurelien, by Edita Klimavičiūtė Zeratska. She's asking, nobody mentioned yet lower buying capacity of customers, which leads to buying of basic products and not affording well-being products, unfortunately. How retail is preparing to face that?
Sorry, for which product?
The buying capacity is dropping.
Okay.
Everybody can afford the well-being products, unfortunately.
Yes, so that's a very good point, actually. So what we see that a lot of shoppers went for value products, value proposition, where it's like a lot of value for the money, and I think that's something what the shopper wants to see. But as I said, shoppers wants to find healthier products that they feel confident is good for their health. When you've been staying at home for 2 months, you know what I'm talking about. And basically, I think that when you go out there in the supermarkets, you cannot go to the restaurant, right? So or limited. Then sometimes you really want to find some products that is good for you. And even myself, I think I'm looking even now, which I would have thought before, maybe for meal replacement products or something that is more. And it's going to be starting now to have a bit of a shift from value products to diversify and more premium. And this will go with time. So like May, June, July. And it will basically follow in the next quarter. So find the right angle, find the right proposition for your shopper. Use the social network as well to enhance your brands or to showcase the great products for the buyer.
Thank you very much. And the last question is for Artur. I'm not sure I correctly get the question, but maybe I don't know something. Dear Artur, do you work with food? +6 - 18. Thank you. By Violeta Brauklytė.
6, sorry?
+6 - 18. Is it some sort of category? I'm not sure.
Maybe it's the temperature of the products. Maybe it's like fresh and
temperature
frozen.
Yeah, temperature of the product. We, as I told you in the presentation, that's why we want to make the sourcing of ambient products, because we have like a standard warehouse. We do not have a chill room. The only fact is that we can manage the distribution of chocolate product. As we have a chocolate premium bar, we have like a special room. It's called the chocolate room, because when you have some very high differences of temperature, very low or very high, during winter or summer, we have to keep the product at the same temperature. But for example, last summer in France, it was a very, very hot weather, and during this period, we cannot. Unfortunately, we cannot make some delivery of chocolate bars in stores, because between from the beginning when the product left the warehouse and to the time of delivery in stores, sometimes you have 3 hours, and for example during the heat. You cannot let your product in standard trucks. So we have a lot of demand concerning, for example, a chill juice, HPP product or something like that. And unfortunately, at the moment, we cannot respond positively to this kind of demands. So we are focused on ambient snacks, foods. With like approximately minimum 6 months of shelf life.
Okay.
I don't know if
I think you answered the question. Yeah. So that was the last question for today. Thank you all very much. Thank you, dear Daiva, Aurelien, Artur.
Thank you very much.
Talking about
Thank you very much.
For 2+ hours, so I think we are all getting hungry and it's about the time to go for lunch. Thank you to all the viewers for participating in today's webinar. We hope that our companies have heard some useful information and advice for your business. Should you have interest, please register for the B2B meetings with WABEL and these distribution companies. We shared the registration link before. And please follow Versli Lietuva on social media webpage for the future webinars, which we will be holding on different topics about other markets. Thanks again, and please stay healthy. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye to everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Take care.